Hello everyone. In previous class, we discussed Andhra Pradesh Polytechnic's Common Entrance Test 2025 Chemistry previous year questions with solutions. So now let us continue. I made two videos regarding that. In this video, let us discuss the continuation of that 21 questions I have discussed in previous class. Now coming to 22nd question. Why do acidic solution conduct electricity? Acidic solution, usually remember solids. Solids conducts electricity. Solid conducts electricity due to flow of electron. Flow of electrons. Solutions. Usually solutions conducts electricity due to ions. Due to ions. So now tell me, here they clearly mentioned that acidic solution. Solution means due to the presence of ions in the solution. Remaining free electrons, no. Water molecules are also no. Solid conductors, which is also no. So now next question 23, which is a fact based question you have to remember. Tooth decay begins when the pH of mouth drops. Whenever upon teeth, if we acid is present, enamel will react with that acid and tooth decay takes place. So here what is acid? The pH values we have 0, 7, 14 pH scale is there. So up to 7 those are acids. 7 to 14 bases. So let us try to identify 7 is a neutral, which is not a base, which is not the answer. Now coming to remaining 3. So now among these 5.5 is the exact answer. This is a fact based, you have to remember this. But acid, bases and pH scale like this only. 7 is neutral, which is not neither acid nor base. Now coming to the next question, what chemical is responsible for the pain caused by bee sting? So for these two questions in my previous classes regarding neutralization in our daily life, I have given very clear explanation among all the things. So steeping usually releases the formic acid. Formic acid formula is HC double bond OH. So which is also called as methanoic acid. Why we call it as meth? Only one carbon is present, that's why methanoic acid. Oic acid is C double bond OH. So methanoic acid. Answer is methanoic acid, which is also a direct question. There is no concepts, logics, calculations are not there. Direct question. Bee sting releases formic acid. Formula is, this is also called as methanoic acid. Hydrochloric acid is HCl. Acetic acid is CH3COOH. Sulfuric acid is H2SO4. These are all not the responsible for bee sting. So the pain is due to formic acid. If you have any doubt, comment below. I'll clarify your doubts. Next question, that is 25th question. What is the chemical formula of plaster of Paris? Now let us see. Calcium sulfate 2H2O. This is what we call it as gypsum. Gypsum. Calcium sulfate half H2O is our actual plaster of Paris. Nowadays we are calling it as POP. Plaster of Paris. POP. In the constructions for false ceilings and all we are using this. This is calcium carbonate. This is calcium hypochlorite. This is in common we are calling it like bleaching powder. Bleaching powder. So if you know the formulas, if you know the concept and all, here itself you can learn some more, you can cover some more bits also. That's why I am explaining each and every option here. So plaster of Paris is CaSO4. They are asking plaster of Paris CaSO4 half H2O. Try to remember remaining formulas also. There are high chances among all these things one question will come into your next exam. Which property of metals describes their shiny surface? Malleability. Malleability is a property of metal which we can make it into sheets. Sheets formation. We can form into sheets. We can mold the metal into wires. That is what we call it as the property of ductility. We can make the metal into sheets, that is malleability. Metallic luster is nothing but because of shiny surface. And then conductivity conducts the electricity, which is responsible for electricity. So now they're asking describes the shiny surface. Metallic luster is the property which is responsible for shiny surface. Now, for shining, one more point also here I wanted to cover. For shining of iron articles like bicycles, motor bikes, for shining and all, pipeline shining, we are using chromium. Chromium, which is used for making shining and corrosion also. It avoids corrosion also. Along with shiny surface, avoid corrosion, added advantage. Corrosion. Now next question, why are cooking vessels made of metals like copper and aluminum? So copper and aluminum are used in the making of cooking vessels. Why? Why? Because is it used to make in the making of sheets? If we are making into sheets, that's why we can use it in vessels? No, this is wrong. It is shiny. Copper and aluminum are shiny, that's why we are using in cooking vessels. No, because they are sonorous. Sonorous means which gives the ringing sound. Ringing sound is nothing but like bells. Like bells only, it will give the sound. Because of that sound, we are not taking it as a cooking vessel, which is also wrong. Answer is because they are good conductors of heat. Very, very important question. Because copper and aluminum are good conductors of heat, we are using as cooking vessels. So in this also, if you have any doubt, you can ask me in the comment section. Now, next question. Why are metals like potassium and sodium stored in kerosene? See, very, very important. We are storing, imagine this is a kerosene. We are storing a solid metal of potassium or sodium at the bottom of kerosene. Because this sodium or potassium rapidly reacts with surrounding oxygen, will give fire also. Immediately fire is produced and forms the oxides. Rapidly it forms the sodium oxide, potassium oxide is produced. That's why what happened here, to prevent the accidental fires due to their vigorous reaction with oxygen. That's why we are storing sodium and potassium under the kerosene oil. 29th question. What is the process of forming a thick oxide layer on aluminum called? Usually galvanization is nothing but coating of zinc on iron. That is what we call it as galvanization. Anodizing is nothing but process of forming thick oxide layer on any metal. That is what we call it as anodizing. This definition itself is anodizing. Electrolysis, I already told you, by using electricity, chemical reactions takes place. That is electrolysis. What is oxidation? By using electricity. By using electricity, chemical reactions takes place. What is meant by oxidation? Addition of oxygens. Addition of oxygen. That is simply oxidation. So these are all not responsible for oxide layer of film. Anodizing is natural process forming thick oxide layer of aluminum. This is the answer. Now next question. What happens when zinc is added to? I already told you in previous classes of this solutions, activity series is there. Activity series. So what is meant by activity series? We have a series of metals arranged. That is sodium, potassium, sodium, calcium, magnesium, aluminum, zinc, iron, lead, hydrogen, copper, mercury, silver, gold. Now what happened? The metals which are present on top, this point is activity series concept. From surely one question will come from this concept only. That's why again and again I'm trying to explain. So top metals, the metal which is present in top is more reactive. More reactive. The metals which are present at bottom are less reactive. Less reactive. Now, say for example, now here the question is zinc is added. Zinc is added to solution of iron sulfate, FeSO4. Iron sulfate formula is FeSO4. Now here they are asking. Now look into this zinc which is present in, zinc is here. So which is present in top. Then iron is present below. Then what happened? Zinc easily replaces the iron from corrosion, iron from solution. Zinc easily replaces the iron from its solution, that is ZnSO4 is formed and releases iron. For example, if we take reverse, iron reacts with zinc sulfate. This is not the part of this question, just for information sake I am explaining this. Here no reaction. Why? Because iron is bottom. Zinc is top. Bottom metals cannot replace the top metals. Why cannot replace? Because it is less reactive. It is more reactive. Because of that reason, iron cannot replace the zinc from the solution. That's a no reaction. So this is the activity series. Likewise, if we are having zinc and copper reaction in previous videos also of the solutions of Polytechnic entrance exams, I have explained clearly. One more bit is also there. So learn this activity series concept. Definitely one question will come. Surely. So what happens when zinc is added to solution of iron sulfate? What happened? Zinc sulfate is formed and releases iron. So no reaction. No, this is not the answer. Both metals react with each other to form an alloy. Wrong. Iron displaces zinc and forms iron sulfate. Wrong. Zinc displaces iron and forms zinc sulfate, which is correct. So answer is fourth one. Carefully, here also they have given confusion. Iron displaces zinc and forms iron sulfate. Iron sulfate is there. Again it is also saying iron sulfate. Wrong. So that's why you have to learn the concept. With this, these 30 questions are present in 2025 Polytechnic exam. If you have any doubt in this also, you can comment below. I'll clarify your doubts. So regarding 2025 Polytechnic AP, I completed all the questions. All the best for your future exams. Thank you.